July 4th, 2020. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tyrants Park, formerly U.S. Democracy Field. And just because there's no July 4th baseball to keep us entertained this year doesn't mean we can't keep score. So pull up a chair and enjoy today's contest between Donald J. Trump and the hometown Founding Fathers. Leading off for Trump, the 56 Declaration signatories accused George III of refusing his assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. The president has stated, "I have an Article 2 where I have the right to do whatever I want as president," and has asserted that he is absolutely immune from criminal process. That's Trump 1, Democracy nothing in the top of the first. Next up, the colonists claimed that the king forbade his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend them. Liberate Minnesota, liberate Michigan, liberate Virginia, repeal Obamacare. Tally another run for the president, giving Trump an early 2-0 lead. Batting third, he has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. With no voting representation in Congress, the nation's capital has to settle for the Commissioner's Trophy as World Series champions, which ain't bad. Score another run for the visitors, although no RBI from Trump. In the cleanup spot, he has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. A ground ball to the third for the first out of the inning. Next, he has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. Well, Trump did threaten to adjourn Congress in April, so that's a sharp single to right. In the 6-hole, he has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected. Trump has previously refused to say whether he would honor the results of an election, and his idiot son-in-law was unable to commit one way or the other to holding November's vote. Federal law be damned. And then there are the never-ending claims of voter fraud without a shred of supporting evidence. A double in the gap, putting runners on second and third with one out. Bottom third of the order now, he has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. Another double, plating 2 with Trump's Muslim travel bans and migrant detention centers. After 7 batters, Trump leads Democracy 5-0. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. Earlier this year, Trump demanded that Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sonia Sotomayor recuse themselves from any cases involving him. Another sharp single, scoring the runner from second. This brings up the 9th place hitter. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. Score that a caught stealing for the second out. Back to the top of the order, he has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt resigned following questions about his spending, housing arrangements, security team, and raises for political appointees. Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price resigned after spending hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars on private flights. Secretary of Veterans Affairs David Shulkin fired after taxpayer-funded sightseeing in Europe and accepting a gift of Wimbledon tickets. David Sorensen and Rob Porter resigned following allegations of domestic abuse. I could go on. A double to the gap. The number 2 hitter, who followed a leadoff homer with one of his own earlier in the inning, he is kept among us in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. An intentional base on balls to put runners on first and second. He is affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. A deep fly ball to left, but it's caught for the final out. But after half an inning, the score is 6-0 for Trump. Top of the second now, and here's the cleanup hitter again. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation. Oh my, what a blast! I'm telling you, that ball would have been out of any park, including Gorky. That's in Russia. For quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. Another double as park police used smoke or tear gas to break up a peaceful demonstration so Trump could go to church. Not attend church, mind you, just go to church. For protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states. The number 6 hitter who doubled in the first singles in the 8th run of the game with a Russian bounty on dead GIs. For cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, and a triple to bring in run number 9. For imposing taxes on us without our consent. A 4-pitch walk with tax cuts for the rich. For depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury. Oh, my scorecard is a mess. Roger Stone, Michael Flynn, Michael Cohen, Paul Manafort, Rick Gates, George Papadopoulos. The hits just keep on coming. For transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our government, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. You get the idea. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. See coronavirus. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. See Black Lives Matter protests. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with the circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections among us. Ibid. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act may define a tyrant, is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. I think this just about sums it up. Like many baseball games, this has gone on much longer than necessary. Happy Independence Day.